All right, welcome everyone to PhD&D on YouTube and another episode of Wake Up and Smell the Dice, episode 12, I think. So really getting going with this series. I'm trying to make it happen more often because there have been times where it's been like 2 months between these, and these are supposed to be update videos. These are supposed to be just kind of a vlog of what's going on. For those of you new, this is me talking about what's going on in my gaming life. What's going on in the gaming community that we're all a part of, and then what's going on in the larger gaming world. So any major news, this series is probably 99% tabletop role-playing games. I will start to throw in a few video game things that I'm playing in the first part of the videos where I'm discussing, my gaming life. Video games are a part of that. And the biggest reason I'm throwing those in, this being a tabletop RPG channel, is because if you've watched some past videos, video games drive a lot of my inspiration. That's where I get a lot of my ideas from, most of my ideas. So, and I also have gotten feedback from viewers, and they're very interested in knowing what video games I'm playing, what do I think of them, and so just expect me to talk a little bit more about video games, but no less about tabletop role-playing games. So, welcome. I know I'm wearing a Batman t-shirt and drinking out of a Superman mug, but I like both of them. So, let's get started with my gaming life. By the way, we're doing this live just because I was just on a chat with a very cool person from our community discussing BrigadeCon. So I thought, why not just throw up another live event and film the next Wake Up and Smell the Dice? So here we are. In my gaming life, what is going on? Well, number one, sort of related to gaming, nerdy news. I got the loot crate this month. I won't do an unboxing. That's not really my thing with the loot crates. But this is cool. Stress ball, Hearthstone stress ball. Anyways, sometimes I get inspiration from the loot crates. I don't do them every month, but it's something fun. Even though you don't always like everything that comes in them, it's just fun to know you have some nerdy toys coming at the end of the month. So outside of that, going into actual gaming, my group got together last week, as I mentioned they were going to in the previous Wake Up and Smell the Dice, and we played in our D&D 5th edition campaign. That's the one that I'm DMing in my new setting, Candelure. Not so new, actually. But anyways, we played that, and everyone was there. It was great. There's one character in the party. I did D&D Races of Candelure, for those of you who remember. It's a video on the channel about this race called the Fallen Elves. And one of the characters chose to play that race. That's the only video I've done for races, by the way. One character, one player, chose to play a fallen elf. And if you watch the video, you know they're kind of crazy. Like, they have to roll on the 5th edition madness charts once in a while. Actually, when they rest after combat is the big thing. But this kid's a good role player. And so if he hasn't had to roll on the madness charts in a while, he actually brings it up and says that he's going to roll on one. Or if an event would really stress out his character, and he chooses to roll on the madness chart. He's fantastic. So they went off to do a job. They had to go to this keep, the old veiled keep, and they had to actually find this missing person. And on the way, there was this grove. Now, spoiler alert, if you're in my campaign, stop watching. But in this grove lives a night hag. And so they knew something was in that grove, so they kind of walked up to it. These guys are level 1, by the way. A night hag would obliterate them. They kind of walk up and start seeing things, and that stressed him out. So he rolled on the short-term madness chart. He rolled the result that he has to, for the next however many minutes, and he rolled 4 minutes, attack the nearest creature. He's a rogue. So he goes off, he hides behind some trees, and he starts seeing, this is how he plays it off, he starts seeing these shadows like moving into the grove. And it's his fellow party members. And so he starts shooting them with a crossbow, trying to annihilate these shadows that he's seeing. They're evil. And he rolls really well. His stealth is super high. I think he rolled a natural 20 on stealth twice, and then he rolled max damage on an attack on one of them once, knocked the person unconscious in a single shot. So he's attacking the party. They run away. They're not sure what's going on, who's attacking them. They can't see anything. They get away. The time passes because he just kind of sits in that area, doesn't see the shadows. And then finally, his cousin, who's one of the other party members, comes up and says, you were shooting us. These were not shadows. And he kind of starts to piece it together that he had an episode. And his cousin doesn't want the rest of the party to know. So he's like, go back to town. I'll cover for you. Don't let them see you. Long story short, they all survived, but they didn't actually get to go do a mission that night. They headed back to town. They're like, we're going to rest for a few more days, work around town. But that was stressful enough that one of their own party members basically attacked them and almost wiped them out. So that's fun, having that fallen elf who can have these fits of madness. And that was the session, basically. They didn't progress any further, do anything else, and that's all right. So anyways, the session kind of wrapped up where I don't want to say we started goofing around, but every once in a while you get in a session where everybody's feeling good. We started watching like funny videos at the end. We knew that the story was over. Like we were all just kind of sitting around the table. And then we just kind of let the session end that way. We started watching these videos, just talking, and the session naturally came to an end. I know a lot of game masters who would have tried to just like force that back on track, but we'd played for 2 hours, which is typically how long we play when it's on a weeknight. And we just kind of let it naturally wrap up, and it felt good, it felt right. So we'll start the next session sometime probably next week. Preparing a lot of things coming up for Brigade Con actually right now. So it will probably be after Brigade Con. Speaking of that, to try to kind of segue into that, I guess I'm going to be running a one-shot next Friday night, October 9th, the night before Brigade Con starts. Unfortunately, it wasn't organized through the one-shot group. I'm sorry. I actually ran across these players elsewhere. And so I'm going to run that right before Brigade Con starts, right before the opening ceremonies at least. This game will wrap up. I will join the opening ceremonies, which I'll be a part of for Brigade Con. And then we kick off 24 hours of tabletop role-playing games with Brigade Con 2015 on October 10th. If you need more information on that, head to brigadecon.org and just get excited for it, because it's just gaming all day. Gaming, panels, prizes, and it's a lot of fun. Last year it was a blast. Like, it was just so fun to be a part of a convention like that. So definitely jump in, join that. So let that segue into what's going on in the community. Brigade Con, that's the big thing right now. We're getting it all organized. The games are starting to fill up. Like I said, we've got prizes from sponsors. We've got panels, like all-star panels with some really famous people in the world of tabletop role-playing games. So get signed up for Brigade Con, show up. There's going to be just videos going on all day, live events. So check those out. But that's kind of the big community news at this point. In the larger gaming world, I would say, like usual, I'm not very well caught up. So I will actually skip that in this video. Just consider Brigade Con the larger gaming news. But to kind of go back and let's talk about the channel, some things that are coming up on the channel, what you're going to start to see, what you may not see. One project that has wrapped up that I will no longer be doing anytime soon is the Patreon maps. If you head over to the Patreon page, well, you'll notice, first of all, the link's gone from the description. If you head over to the page, you're going to see that it's kind of under construction. The maps are done. I made enough maps to where I basically got to a point where I couldn't come up with as many good ideas as quickly for maps, and I don't want to just spit out just a map a week. And so I'd rather just cut the project back than put out terrible content or lower quality content. So There will be a Patreon project coming in the future, probably a ways away though, like 6 months or more. And it'll be a fun one. It'll be very similar to how I ran the map one, just a different type of product, I guess I would say. But again, that's down the line. You probably won't hear anything about it for a while because there's some other big projects that are coming up much sooner. So let's talk about those. The biggest one is going to be after BrigadeCon is when you'll hear the first news about it. I talked about it in the last video. I know I'm just teasing it. I'm not giving any information. That's just because the actual details are still kind of being decided. I know exactly what it's going to be, but like I said, the actual specific details I don't want to give out because they're not finalized. But it'll be a fun project. It'll be a community thing where everyone can get involved. It will allow you as a viewer to basically play D&D by yourself. You'll be able to, how do I say this without giving it away? You'll be able to jump on and play D&D without anyone else. You don't need a DM. You don't need a party. You'll be able to jump on, take part in this really cool story completely by yourself. However, you will also be able to play with a party. Like if you get a group of players, 2 or 3 total, no bigger parties than that, you will be able to also play and do basically these really cool missions and just take part and be able to play D&D without having to find a dungeon master. So if that sounds exciting to you, if you would like to create a D&D character and just jump on and play kind of like a video game, it's not a video game, but the fact that you can just jump on and play, no prep on your part other than you make a character, if that sounds interesting, you're going to want to keep an eye out for this. It's got hopefully some really cool people involved. And again, it's something that I don't think is really out there at this point. I know a lot of people who might just want to play by themselves. They may just want to try D&D. They may not have a schedule that fits well with like the one-shot group. I know there's games available all the time, but they may not be able to commit to a certain time or be afraid to commit to something, and that's fine. This will be an option for you. Again, you just be able to jump on, play, have an awesome time, take part in an awesome story, and then yeah, there's a lot more to it than that. There's so much more to it that I can't tell you yet. Like I said, hopefully some more news coming not too long after BrigadeCon, but basically nothing is being done with this project until the day after BrigadeCon. Focusing on BrigadeCon, and then this is going to take off. I've already done a lot of work on it, but it's on hold till BrigadeCon. So that's kind of the big stuff you're going to see on the channel, hopefully coming out before too long. You'll continue to see Wake Up and Smell the Dice videos. My goal is once a week. It's more like probably once every 10 days. Hopefully another coffee and campaign building coming soon, where I introduce some newer things. I'm trying to keep that series fresh and not, I've noticed in some of them I do the same things that I did in previous. And obviously it's world building and that's the same, but I'd like to do a different part of world building in each one, or at least a different setting in each video. If I'm gonna do the same thing, let's try it with a different setting. So more of those. Let's see, what else? NPC All-Stars, I've got to get back on that because I have probably 3 or 4 perfect NPC All-Stars, and I just need to film those and get those out because that is a series that people, the feedback on that series is extremely positive. That and Coffee and Campaign Building are probably the favorites amongst viewers as far as I'm aware of. But definitely comment below if there's a series you want to see more of that I haven't really touched on. I know I've got a lot of different types of series that I've started. So yeah, just comment, let me know what you want to see on those. Other than that, I'm going to wrap this up. Like I said, look forward on the channel to this big project that allows you to play D&D over the internet, but by yourself, no DM required, and head to BrigadeCon. That's the main one, brigadecon.org. Check it out. Post comments down below. If you have questions, you can definitely reach out to me because I can get you the answers. Other than that, have a great week of gaming, everybody, and thanks for stopping by. Wake up and smell the dice.